The Merchant's Daughter. Once there was an honorable merchant who had 2 children, a daughter and a son. When the merchant lay dying, their mother had passed away before him, he said, "My children, live well with each other, in love and harmony, just as I lived with your dear mother." Then he slowly closed his eyes and passed away. They buried him and said prayers for his soul, as was right and proper. Soon after, inspired by his father's honorable life as a merchant, the son followed in his footsteps and prepared to trade across the sea. He prepared 3 ships, filled them with all manner of goods, and said to his sister, "My dear sister, I'm going on a long journey and leaving you here alone. Promise me you'll be careful. Stay true to yourself and keep away from strangers." Then they exchanged portraits, each a testament to their bond. The sister took her brother's likeness to keep in her chambers, while he carefully placed her portrait in his ship's cabin, both images serving as a silent guardian of their loyalty to each other. With tears flowing freely, they embraced one final time. At last, the merchant's son lifted anchor, his ships slipping away from the familiar shore and into the vast expanse of the open sea. He sailed for 1 year, then another, and in the 3rd year he came to a rich and powerful city where he anchored his ships in the harbor. Right away he gathered a bowl of precious gems and rolls of his finest velvet, silk, and satin, taking them as a gift to the king. He went to the palace, presented his gift, and asked permission to trade in the city. The king was delighted with the gift and said to the merchant's son, "This is the finest gift I have ever received. In return, I'll give you the best spot in the marketplace. If anyone troubles you, come straight to me. Tomorrow I will visit your ship myself." The next day, when the king came aboard, he walked around looking at the goods, and in the captain's cabin he saw a portrait on the wall. "Whose portrait is that?" he asked. "My sister's, your majesty." "Well now, I've never seen such a beauty in all my days. Tell me truly, what is she like?" "She is as gentle and pure as a dove." "If that is so, she shall be queen. I will make her my wife." Now there was a prideful general with the king who couldn't bear to see others happy. He heard the king's words and grew angry. Now, he thought, our wives must bow to a merchant's daughter. Unable to stay quiet, he said to the king, "Your Majesty, don't punish me for speaking. Let me tell you something. This merchant's daughter isn't fit to be queen. I've known her well, spent many nights in her company. She's not the virtuous girl her brother claims." "Your Majesty," said the merchant's son, "if the general speaks true, let him bring you my sister's ring and tell you her secret mark." "Very well," said the king, and gave the general leave to go. "But if you fail to bring the ring and reveal the secret mark by the appointed day, you will pay with your life." The general set out for the town where the merchant's daughter lived, but when he arrived, he didn't know what to do. He paced the streets, worried and lost in thought. He came upon the old beggar woman asking for coins, and he gave her some. "Why do you look so troubled?" she asked. "What's the use in telling you? You can't help me." "Who knows? Perhaps I can." "Do you know where the merchant's daughter lives? The one everyone talks about." "Of course I do." "Then get me her ring and find out her secret mark. Do this, and I'll reward you with gold." The old woman hobbled to the merchant's daughter's house, knocked at her door, and claimed she was traveling to a holy place, begging for charity. She spoke with such cunning, the young maiden fell under her spell and accidentally revealed her secret mark. While they talked, the old woman slipped the girl's ring from the table into her sleeve. She bid farewell to the merchant's daughter and hurried to the general. She gave him the ring and said, "Her secret mark is a golden hair beneath her left arm." The general rewarded her and rushed back to his kingdom. He went straight to the palace, where the merchant's son was still waiting. "Well," asked the king, "have you got the ring?" "Here it is, your majesty." "And what is the merchant's daughter's secret mark?" "A golden hair beneath her left arm." "Is that true?" the king asked the merchant's son. "It is, your majesty." "Then you dared to lie to me. For this you shall die." "Your majesty, grant me one last favor. Let me write to my sister to come say farewell." "Very well," said the king. "Write her, but I won't wait long." He delayed the execution, but ordered the young man chained and thrown in the dungeon. When the merchant's daughter received her brother's letter, she set out at once. As she traveled, she knitted a golden glove and wept bitterly. Her tears turned to diamonds, and she set them into the glove. Arrived in the city and took a room in the poor widow's house. "What news is there of your city?" she asked. "Only that a foreign merchant is to die because of his sister. Tomorrow they'll hang him." The next morning, the merchant's daughter, dressed in fine clothes, hired a carriage and went to the square. The gallows stood nearby, guards were posted, and a great crowd had gathered. As they brought out her brother, she stepped from her carriage, went to the king, and presented the glove she had made. "Your Majesty, tell me what such a glove is worth." The king exclaimed. "Oh," he said, "it's beyond price." "Well, then, your general stole its mate from my house. Please order a search for it." The king summoned the general and said, "There's a charge against you for stealing a precious glove." The general began swearing he knew nothing of it. "How can you say that?" said the merchant's daughter. "You've been to my house many times, spent many nights there, as you claim." "But I've never seen you before. I've never been in your house, and I couldn't tell anyone who you are or where you are from." "Then, your Majesty, why must my brother die?" she asked the king. "Which brother?" asked the king. "The one led to the gallows." And so the truth came to light. The king ordered the merchant's son freed, and the general hanged. Then he took the lovely merchant's daughter in his carriage to the church. They were married with great celebration, lived in happiness and prosperity, and as the old tales say, they may be living still to this very day.